Hey, welcome. It's Captain Matt, Boater Secret Weapon. I want to thank you for joining us for this Sunday night live. We're getting ready to start here in just a couple of minutes here. We'll start about 8:30, but I wanted to welcome you. If you've never been to a live, here's what you can expect. Just go ahead and chat in your comment section, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube. Just ask your question, leave your comment there, and then as we go through the time, I just kind of scroll down all the comments and I try to answer them. Now, if it's something that I need to ask you a question, I may ask you a question and just put it in the chat again, and I'll come back and I'll get that information so I can give you a more personalized response, something that's going to really add value for you. This is just something I do. One, it's great fun. I really enjoy it. It's helpful for the community. Just sharing my knowledge. Now, one thing that you need to know, I don't know everything about boats. I know a lot about boats. I've been a boater since I was 5. I've sold boats. It's something that is a big part of my life. With that said, I don't know everything. Matter of fact, sailboats, have zero experience with sailboats. Bass boats, very little experience there. Bow riders, deck boats, center consoles, jet boats, twin engines, stern drives, outboards, inboards, all of that I have experience with. And if I have an answer, I'll give you my best answer. If I don't have an answer, I'll try to give you a resource that will be valuable for you. If I have an opinion, I'll try to give you that opinion, but let you know this is what I think, not what I absolutely know. So I look forward to it. Here's a little video intro that a subscriber made for me. Thanks, Bo. And we'll see you on the live when it kicks off here in just a moment. Welcome everybody to the live. Got a few folks that have to jump off for family and travel, but welcome to everybody that is on. I am Captain Matt, and what you are looking at is the beautiful new 248 that I don't think it's delivered yet. It's at the dealer. It's getting prepped. You can see it at the hoist. They probably just took it off the semi, set it on the trailer, getting the trailer all custom set for Mr. 211. And congratulations on that. He sent me an email and kind of shared his experience. And he confirmed something that I always talk about in my best and worst brand videos when people are looking at ordering a boat, that how important the dealer really is. And he echoed that sentiment after getting to this point, walking through the process of going after a boat, and then ended up having to order it, and just things because of the relationship with the dealer. I think one, he had a better experience than he could have had. And two, I think he will continue to have a great experience, even as little things come in, even so much as the dealer's like, no, we're not going to just deliver you the boat. We've got to bring it in. We have to do our PDI, our pre-delivery inspection and checklist. And it is very key. But congratulations, great looking boat. The lines are beautiful. I love the colors. That what looks like light gray and the black powder coat on the T-top looks really, really nice. That's going to turn some heads there on Cumberland, I'm guessing. So yes, I did get the email. That is a good way to start the show is with the almost delivery. Welcome, Ray. Welcome, Bo. Welcome, Corey. Great to have you guys. Herb back on with us. Yes, good looking boat for sure. Tom, great to have you. Have you back. Corey, Derek, good to see you on the live. Derek's is been in the comments a bunch over the last, oh shoot, I want to say year and a half or more. And yes, it is a good day. Good day. Welcome, Corey. Welcome, sustainability. Welcome of Aaron C. Very light gray, dark gray, hardtop powder coat. Okay. Yeah, it looks like that's either early in the morning or late in the evening. I can't really tell. But and as Derek said, I enjoyed St. Patrick's Day with some friends of mine from Zimbabwe and South Africa, and they're have Irish, and their parents live in Ireland now, and are two of the brothers and another friend, and we had just a great time. All right, Bo. New engine is currently being installed. Should have it done by April. Well, that is awesome. Congratulations on that. And I know you're getting excited. And thank you very much for the contribution tonight. It is always appreciated. And so great way to start the show. If you got a question, just throw it in the chat. If you feel compelled or to throw a donation out there, that's always appreciated, not required, but very much appreciated. Savvy Simulant, great to have you. And yeah, 211, good looking boat. And thank you for sending that picture. If it's okay with you, I may feature that in a newsletter or something. And again, got the email, got the message. And but it's a beautiful boat. So thank you for sharing that, and congratulations. A Magic Tilt trailer. It's a good brand of trailer as well. And I like those rims. Those rims look really sharp on there. So, all right, what do we got for today? We got the Boater Bootcamp. Before I jumped on, I had a guy that requested the boot camp that said, "Hey, this isn't free. You said it was free." And so I was just checking to make sure that my tech was working and that everything was free. And the Boater Bootcamp is free. I promise you, people, I am not baiting and switching. Just log in, follow the instructions that I give you on the emails, and you can get in free. It's been free for a year and a half now since I created it. So that is there. Let's see. I've got a couple videos in the hopper. Haven't done any real good ones lately. Some of the ones from the boat show. This new Revo ladder from LilyPad is awesome. If you are a pontooner, be on the lookout for some announcements. They are trying to come up with additional manufacturers that are going to offer it. Right now, they're just on Barletta and Bennington. I anticipate some additional announcements because the ladder was great. This is Captain Todd from Fish Nuts Charters down in Charleston. He is in the Mount Pleasant area with his I think it was a 25 Tidewater, 23, 25, something like that. Tidewater Bay boat, and super nice guy. Helped me out and do some videos on the water as I met with him just at the dock right there in the Wando River in Brock Stomping Grounds, where I got a text from him. He is down in Disney with his wife, so they're enjoying some time with Mickey. Sustainability. Your wife is from South Africa. 11 degrees this morning. Yeah, it was chilly here. It was more windy. The sun was out, but it was windy. And I'll tell you, my South African buddy Andrew and my two old neighbor of mine and his brother from Zimbabwe, Richard and Mark, the four of us, another guy works at the hospital at Richard. We ended up having a pretty good weekend all the way around. And I'm a little worn. And I was out walking the dogs with my daughters today. My wife said, "You went out to the bar all day on St. Patrick's Day with your friend. You got to take the kids out of the house. I want a quiet house all day." And so we went walked around the track at the football field, let the dogs run a bunch. My daughters played on the track equipment, doing handstands and flips and all sorts of stuff on the high jump mat. And I got a little son. So let's see here. Sean, welcome, Sean. Sean Harper bought a crest recently. It's due to me in a couple weeks. I'm getting to be okay with am I going to be okay with the Crest Tri-Tune Suzuki 250? There'd be a better boat to buy for the money. Sean, it's just what I said, with 211. Crest is a perfectly good brand of boat. Tri-Tune with the 250, you're going to be happy with the performance with that level of Tri-Tune. And, you know, if you're putting 15 people on it and expecting to go 45, that's not going to happen. But you put 6-8 people on, you're going to be able to run in the mid 30s to high 30s. If you 6 to 8 adults. If you've got 4 to 6 people, you know, you're going to be around 40 plus. And depending on the furniture that you have, I know Crest has some models with the heavier furniture. And then as far as it's in the higher tier level, but what's most important, Sean, is that you like the boat, you like the layout of the boat, you're fine with that setup with the 250. That's going to give you as much performance as 99% of the people it's going to give you the performance that 100% people need. There's some people that just have a little higher need for speed. Sustainability might be one of them. He just likes to go a little bit faster than everybody else. With his I think 350, I think is what he's got on his Bennington Q, and that's got the big heavy furniture on it too, so he needs that. But it's going to deliver a good boat for the money, quality boat for the money. Now, can you get a bigger Tri-Tune with the 250? Yeah, if you go down on the ladder to Sweetwater, to a lower quality level boat, but there the question of, are there better boats to buy with the money? I would say no, if it's a good quality dealer. If the dealer is local in your area, if you've got a good relationship with them, if they have a good reputation, then I think you're going to be happy with it and enjoy the boat. If you haven't, you can watch my pontoons. This video here, best and worst pontoons. That's a 25-minute video. I go through all the brands that I personally have inspected at the boat show in Greenville. I spent 10 hours at the show last March, or 2 Marches ago, I guess. It's got 251 views. The people watch it all the way through the end for the most part. And it's a video that, if you haven't watched, you might want to check it out. Thank you. Yeah, get even better. What's the pictures on the water are always just a little bit nicer. You get a good sunset on it, and you're good. If you're interested, I could send some pictures of the boat after I'm finished it. Yeah, that would be great, Bo. I always love getting even if I don't show them or use them, I like to see what other people are boating on, what their styles are, what projects they're doing with them. And I just like to look at people's boats. It is an illness with me. I like to see boats. I don't care what the setting. And then if I know the people that own them, that's all the better. That's all the more fun. So, that would be fantastic. Now waiting on weather and work so they can prep, shakedown, run. Yep. That's the sign, Sean. That's the sign of a good dealer, is they're getting the boat. Yes, the boat's here, but I'm not just going to deliver it to you. I'm actually going to make sure that we do a shakedown. We put that baby on the water. We make sure the motor's set the right height. We make sure we've got the fuel. We make sure the engine's running. Put a, maybe 0.2 of an hour, 0.3 of an hour on it. Make sure that if any hatches, latches come loose, that we're adjusting those, so that when you take delivery, you have a great experience from the start. And we know that there's going to be something wrong with 211's boat in the first year. Okay. We don't know what it's going to be. It's probably going to be very minor, but we need to make sure that that dealer is going to step up and say, yeah, let's get that fixed. What's convenient for you? And make sure that that comes through. I don't care what brand 211 bought. Doesn't matter if it's the Sea Fox. It doesn't matter what brand it is. All new boats are going to have something. The better dealers will find more of them, but something may happen in the first year, and then the dealer steps up and takes care of it. That's the type of dealer you want with your Crest. Okay. Little bit of side maintenance. Took the bow rails off my cuddy, put some caulking under. Yes, that is, Bo, I am going down to Charleston, in a couple of days to film the coastal edition of the Boater Bootcamp, and it's one of the things that as I was going through it, that I wanted to add when I talk maintenance, and that is the recaulking of a boat that is 5, 7, 10 years old or more, around through hull fittings, anywhere that there's a hole through the gel coat into the fiberglass that water can get. That that caulk, it's going to start degrading. The sun, the weather, just time. It's going to start getting that rubbery texture. It's going to start harden. It's going to start cracking. And what can happen is, especially if it's at or below the water line, what can happen is it can start leaking. If it's plastic, it can crack. And sometimes you got to change a through hull fitting. Sometimes you got to recaulk a screw, pull all the screws out, recaulk them, and put them back in, just like Bo's doing on his cuddy cabin, because that caulk is going to degrade. And what can happen is you get in a rainstorm, water comes in, you take a wave over the bow, water comes in. Like I said, if it's at or below the water line, it's real easy for water to get in. That can cause a major problem. You get on a cuddy, you get water dripping down the bow rail holes. It's going to go right into the sides, and it's going to start mold and mildew, because you're not going to know it until it gets too bad. And now you've got a major issue on your hand. It's that type of sustainability. I shorted you again, 400. I knew it was big. I always get that wrong. Sustainability's got a 400 on his Bennington Q. And it is fun to get that thing ripping. I could imagine. I've run. I don't know that I've run a Bennington with a 400, but I've run those pontoons that run 50 plus, and man, it is a treat. It's a treat to run by a bow rider, or to run by a bass boat that's hauling, and you come zipping by in the lap of luxury comfort, just cool, easy, smooth sailing. Doesn't matter the chop, and you're just going. That is a fun thing to do, and you can certainly do it with that 400. But that level of maintenance is something that a lot of people miss, and it can cause an issue. You're like, where's it coming from? Where's that water coming from? Why am I getting this in my bilge? Or why do I have mold in my cabin? Or what's going on here? And that caulk can be the culprit. So I'm adding that to the new coastal boot camp, and we'll probably splice that into the old boot camp, because I think it's an important topic to talk on. It might even be just a regular video that I do about maintenance on boats over 5 or 7 years old that you may not consider. Sean, if your dealer is good, 75%. Yes, 100%, 100%. 211. That is, it's so, you get so hung up on brand. And don't get me wrong, brand is important to a certain extent, as long as you're in the right category. And there are some brands that just, they've got better layouts that you like. You just like their colors better or something. But if that dealer is not a great dealer, the brand is going to be really, you're going to cuss the brand because of the dealer's service level. So does any boat brand sell directly to the customer like Tesla? There are a handful out there. So the ones that come to mind, Dusky center console. This will please a guy. On the on my videos. He's an older gentleman. I think that I assume he works for the company or has a relationship with the company. but he's always touting them. But your factory direct with them, there is factory boats direct that sells some uh, factory direct marine and RV, Lexington pontoons, Razor, um, not Creval, Crevel, Caravel is Creval. Creval is a higher end bay boat hybrid boat, but the Razor, Lexington pontoons, Crevel, CR, what is it? Cravelle, Creval, Crav. I don't know. It's spelled just slightly different. I was getting mixed up. Key Largo and Raptor are the. I think Raptor is a trailer. I think. I don't think that's a boat. Oh, Raptors. Yeah, Raptors are aluminum boat. Um, so their factory direct. Um, who else is factory? There's some higher end center consoles that sell factory direct, especially down in Florida. Not many bow riders outside Lexington pontoons. There is, oh, what's that pontoon brand in Kentucky? Um, I've driven by their factory, and I was going to stop for a factory tour, but we were on vacation going to the Lake of the Ozarks. The first year of the pandemic, we had all the time in the world. We were just driving out there, taking our time. And my wife said, I don't think that the girls are going to enjoy a boat factory tour as much as you think they will. And so she nixed that idea. But there's a handful of them out there. But nowhere near as big as the Tesla brand. It's usually some of the smaller brands with the factory marine direct. It is lower level and they're selling price point. In my opinion, most of the experience I've had with them and the stories are here is poor customer service. But you get a cheap boat, you get a cheap boat, you get cheap service. But it's got a Mercury, or it's probably got a Suzuki on it for them. But that one comes to mind. Let's see. Met someone at the sandbar who told us that the lake they boat on had 26-foot limit boat size. Yeah, there are a lot of lakes that will have horsepower limit is more common than boat length limit. There's lakes in California that have only two-stroke. There are some smaller lakes, as you could imagine, that just have electric. They only allow electric. Now, they were put in place when electric meant a trolling motor. That would, now not the 180 horsepower eVision Marine outboard that's not what they were thinking when they did. It was a small lake. Electric is going to make it essentially no wake, but it allows the bass guys to get out, do some fishing. Don't use your gas engine, just use your trolling motor. Where was the lake? There a lot of the Midwestern lakes will have horsepower limits, and essentially you're with the horsepower limit, you're somewhat limiting the size of the boat in that case. But it's common on smaller lakes where they want to keep the wave traffic down. They want to keep the lake from getting so stirred up and choppy, or it's smaller where it's just not safe to run bigger horsepower. And then, the two-stroke in California is all about, hey, these are our reservoirs for drinking water, and we don't want the old two-strokes that are leaving a film of unburnt fuel on the water, or oil on the water. We don't want that, and so we're limiting it to the two-strokes, which are sorry, G2 people, but they're cleaner burning than the G2. But or the G2 guys will say that they're the most efficient and green motor. Sure, they are, but all the other two strokes out there are not. And so you get lumped in with that category. But those are certainly some common ones. I can't think of any around here, but I'm sure they're out there. let's see here. Arlene Smith, thanks for the love. I always appreciate a heart. Thumbs up are good, but hearts tell me, all right, we did something real good there. So that's good. Zachary says, what do you think about Princecraft? Zachary, did you send me the email? I get emails all the time from people that so I had to write an email that was as polite as I can be, that I just don't have time to answer all these individual questions and do one-to-one value. So if I sent that email and I spent 10 minutes explaining it, writing that email, it only goes to Zachary. Where I can do it here, not only can Zachary get the value of it, but all of the 500,000 people, whatever, end up watching this over the next year will also get that value. And so thank you for joining us here on the live. If that was you, do you think a Princecraft Sportfish LX25 RS with a 150 Merc? I think that we are going to look that boat up. Zachary, tell me what year that is. Princecraft Tri-Tune LX25R. Let's see what we find here. Oh, Princecraft. Princecraft. Let me make sure I'm right before I say this. Smokercraft boats. I thought who owns Princecraft boats? Brunswick. Okay. I don't know why I was thinking Smokercraft. I knew somebody owned them. That does not look like Brunswick's website template, but okay. So Princecraft is a Canadian company. Proudly built in Canada. Yeah. So they are I would put them in a mid-tier to value brand. The 150 is a good, to me, a 150 on a Tri-Tune is the most versatile boat package you can get. The best performance capacity for the money, in my opinion, because it can do all the water sports you can want. You can get the fish set up if you want. You can run, on that 25, you'll probably run mid 30s as a high end, depending on what the exact furniture that you have is. You got the shade of the Bimini. You've got the seating for 10, 12 people. On 25, your capacity is 15, and you really do have the seating for that many people. The Tri-Tune, I would assume it's the Sport Tune. That's the third, 2/3 of the length of the boat. I don't know that for a fact, but that would be my guess. Let me see if they're. Let's see. What'd you say? LX25 Sportfisher LX. Okay, yeah. So it is all right. So that was the exact right boat. The fishing layout with I like that for somebody that wants to fish and wants to enjoy. You've got all your fishing, your live well. You can cut your bait up there. You've got the hard surface flooring. It's kind of outside the entertaining area, but when you are entertaining, you got 1, 2, 3, 6 up front, 7, 8, 9, 10 easy of actual seats. 11, 12 if you've got, some kids like to hang out there, if they're old enough to be back there. And then 13, you can squeeze 13 in there if you need to. You can squeeze 14 in there if they sit on a cooler, or right there if they sit on a cooler. And I mean, it's a very, very versatile package, Zachary. You've got Brunswick standing behind you. So all of these boats come with Mercury. It's not a huge deal, but it's nice that all of the rigging, everything was set up for just one cabling, one control box. Everything is set up for that. There, you've got the scale of Brunswick that they're getting all their furniture, all their fencing, all their aluminum, all their canvas. They're buying that at a probably the largest scale of any boat manufacturer, which gives them a little advantage in pricing. It's still put together all manually. And they're a bigger corporation, so that might offset a little bit because they pay a little bit better wages. Up in Canada, I don't know what that conversion rate is. I don't know if you're in the States or not, but overall, yeah, it's going to be a good quality pontoon. Is it the best pontoon you can buy? Absolutely not. But for the money, I would say it's a good investment. And again, back to it really depends on the dealer. The dealer makes a big impact on makes a big impact on your overall experience and your overall feeling about Princecraft in the end. Hey Brian, welcome from West Virginia. Brian's got a pontoon up in West Virginia, recocking my bow hatch cleats. Yes, that's if you're gonna do it, do it all. Let's see here. All right, 2023. So yeah, and Derek, I would agree that 150 is Starcraft. That's it. Bo, you're exactly right. That's what I was thinking of. The Starcraft Sylvan owned by Smokercraft. So yeah, overall, I didn't do a Princecraft review, although I did have the opportunity in that best and worst pontoons. I didn't include Princecraft in there because they weren't at the show in Greensboro, or I'm sorry, Greenville, South Carolina. But I have inspected them since, and it's a good quality mid-level. And this is the um when you go, you can kind of tell when you look at the Jazz series, you can see how scaled down that is. They're different. They use different material. It's a more base level. I would put that in the value level. And when I'm actually getting ready to redo my best and worst videos because I want to differentiate between the Bennington Q series and the S series, right? So if you were to tell somebody you've got a Bennington, they assume that you're on the top level. But if you go to that Bennington S, well, they do things different to get the price point down. Same thing with Harris, same thing with Princecraft with their Jazz, is they just do a few things differently. And so I want to explain that, which I don't think I did a good job of explaining that in the previous. So that's what is it called? Sport Fisher LX is, you can tell just by the way they put it. It's in the mid level, not quite up to the Vogue series, which has the fiberglass wraparound. You can see it's got more detailed, more stitching. Doesn't mean it's built better from the decking down, but from the top side up, you get more style, more fancy. Um, what's the word I'm looking for? Luxury, maybe the right word. But yeah, I think you're on the right track if the fishing and entertaining, if that two combination, and getting a good amount of boat for the money from a good dealer, if all those are in play, then I think you're on the right track. Um, yeah, 211, you're exactly right. Lake size is a big one. Let's see. Do you have any experience with work boats, rescue, police, DNR? I don't. I sold Whaler, and Whaler actually had their own division that sold commercially. So they have what's the brand or the model? It's escaping me. I saw one down in Tennessee and was talking to the DNR that run it, but they've got a whole nother division, and they've got a different model that they build, maybe multiple models, I don't know for sure, that they build specifically for DNR, for fire and rescue, and for commercial usage. And they've got in that division, they have the division that sells to government, and they have the division that sells to private industry. And there are several brands like that that are big enough to support. And there are some brands that just really focus on that. Like a lot of the aluminum boats that you see will be a Brunswick boat, Lund or Low, and that the DNR guys will run in the Midwest, and they've got the same thing. They've got, I don't know if they do different models specifically, but they have a different sales group that's going to sell to them, and they're probably going to coordinate through the local dealer for service in a lot of cases, but they're buying the boat because they're usually buying multiple, um, and then they just coordinate the service with an authorized Mercury dealer, because most of the service is going to be done on the engine if the DNR guy doesn't do it themselves. So I did 2 years ago, maybe, I interviewed 3 DNR officers in Minnesota, and when I talked to, oh, I can't remember her name. She was the DNR officer that ran the river, the Mississippi River up in Mississippi, Missouri, up in Minnesota, and she said, I do all my own work because I depend on these boats. She had 3 boats that she ran. She had a 19-foot Lund or Low aluminum boat. She had a flats boat, and she had a boat that she used. I want to say in the ice, like when it was just starting to ice up, and you damage your boat with a big heavy sheet of ice, and so she had those 3 boats, and she said, "Listen, this is my livelihood. This is my life on the line." And so she liked to do all of her own services, her 50-hour, 100-hour services, and she did it herself. She would take it to the manufacturer or to the dealer to do any big warranty stuff, but the maintenance she did herself, which I thought that was interesting. She's like, I tow this baby home. I've got 3 boats that I keep, and usually I'm towing the main one, the Lund that she ran, the 18 or 19-foot aluminum boat. She's like, I usually take that one home with me, and then I'll put in of wherever makes the most sense for where I'm going to work that day, and spend the day on the water. So, um, as far as are the contracts significant? I don't know. I would imagine, I would venture to say, like Whaler, that they are selling directly to the Tennessee DNR, Department of Natural Resources, and they're selling to the state level, and they are probably selling 10, 20, 30 boats at a time, in that situation. But I don't know. I know enough about it because I was like, hey, how do we, when I was selling boats, I tended to think a little, I was new to the industry when I started selling boats. And my mind was, who needs boats? Well, they need boats, and they probably need it a lot. How do I take advantage of that? And I was quickly told, you can't sell our brands to those people because they've got a separate department. That's about where my experience with it ended. Watched the Miami Boat Show on TV this morning. It's time to buy a $5 million catamaran, my couple acre lake. Yes, uh, that is an easy thought to have. Yes, before your cup of coffee, it might even be hey, that seems like a really good idea. Isn't a Massimo? Yes, they are. Uh, um, Massimo pontoons are direct to consumer. As a matter of fact, I talked to um, you can see it goes right to the request for demo because I talked to them at one point. They are a newer builder out of Texas, and they sell direct to consumer. I've not. What I talked to him about is, hey, do you have a boat nearby that I could check out? Obviously they're not going to be at boat shows in my area because they're factory direct. And I was just trying to find out, hey, how does it all work? And I asked the guy, the sales rep, who happened to be in Columbia, South Carolina, which is an hour from me. I said, hey, let me come check out your boat. And he said, well, he didn't have one. So he was more of a kind of the internet salesperson, and he'd only been with him for a short time. Super nice guy, but he didn't have one for me to see. I said, hey, give them my information, have them reach out to me if they want to have a conversation about me inspecting one of their boats, doing a video on it, and seeing if I can put them in my reviews and do something with you guys. And I don't know whether he passed that information on or not, but they never reached out to me. So, but they are factory direct as well. One of the things, and this is an experience that I've had. One of the things that you need to think about when you are looking at brand, in my mind, is unless you're going to keep that boat for 10, 15 years, and even to a certain extent, then is the resale value. And a brand that's not known locally is going to be much, much harder to sell. And I know this because when I was selling boats, I did a lot of broker boats, which is, hey, we don't own it. I'm just sort of acting like a real estate agent. I find the sellers, I find the buyers, I bring them together, and I make a percentage of the sale, right? The dealership never has any financial risk because they never own the boat. We'll bring it in, we'll do an inspection, charge the buyer or the seller for that, charge the seller for the storage, and then the buyer, if they want to do any additional inspections, the buyer pays for that, and we make a fee for it. Well, what I found was when I would get an off-brand boat, a brand that wasn't sold in our area. So the Caravel was one. We had a 18, 19-foot Caravel that came in. It was a nice boat, a $10,000 boat, which was a price point that would sell pretty easily, because it's a nice entry-level boat. The boat was in good condition. It ran well. I had a heck of a time selling that boat because people didn't know about it. They didn't know that brand, and that worried them. And so I had a lot of people that passed and said, I'll buy a $12,000 boat where it's a Sea Ray or a Cobalt or a Stingray or a Tahoe or something that they know, and there's a lot of them in our area. Whereas the Caravel, there was never a long lasting dealer in our market area. And so I think that's something to consider when you are looking at the factory direct, or you are looking at a brand that's not super common in your area. Because I think it can matter, and the quicker you're going to flip it, the more it's going to impact your resale value, if that makes sense. So, um, let's see. Boa's up in Washington. A lot of reservoirs up here in Washington ban surf boats because of their wakes degrade the shorelines. Yeah, that's Connecticut passed a law not too long ago. Washington, Oregon was big on it. There it's and a lot of the smaller private lakes where there's homes on it. It's coming up there as well. I know there's a stretch of what's the river up there by you? The Yakima, I think Yakima River. There's a stretch there that they put some really, really tight restrictions on, and there's only a certain, like a 1 mile stretch of it that you can surf on in a particular area. Scary. I know Key West Fish Wildlife, Kentucky, Kentucky Fish and Wildlife bought 8 new center console boats, some 26 foot, some 22. Yeah, they're decked out for what they need. And the electronics are key for them because they are out there in all conditions. And if they get a call and it's storming, they need to be able to get out, or there's a missing person. It all, they need to be out there and be able to handle it. So those electronics are key. So hopefully, Zachary, that was valuable for you. And let's see here. I've been studying the Regal brand lately. What's their build quality? What are some other competitors? So Regal is in the top tier. So in my mind, depending on what model you're looking at of the Regal, um, so if it's the Regal Bow Riders, they also make some nice cruisers. Savvy Similant, that may be I wanna say you're a cruiser guy. Um, so let me know before I dive into that too much. But, yeah, because there are Savvy, I'm gonna come back to you. Looks like the fun slackwater boat. Oh, looks like a fun slackwater boat for the money. Yeah, I think the boat for the money is right. That's the way to look at it, is especially with that 25 footer. I don't know what the price point is. Um, but that was kind of where my mind went to, Robert. Tom just came in. What's your idea on the Bennington SXSV? So I was just talking about this, Tom. Definitely watch this video and also watch I did let's see where it's gonna come up. This Bennington pontoon review is mine. This is from 2 years ago. So the G series is now the L series, I think. The S and the SV are included in there. They are, Tom, they are so I would say Bennington's a premium brand, right? When you get to the SX, SV, I would put them in the mid-tier, just like the Harrises are a premium brand, but the Cruise is a mid-tier boat. They just build them different. Same thing with Barletta. Barletta is a premium brand, but their new, I always forget the name, Luso, I don't remember what it is, but their new model they came out with it's a super high end mid tier, but it's not built the same level as their top two tiers. Um, the I don't know if the SVX, if that's the 8 foot beam or the 8.5 foot beam. I know some of them are 8, some of them are 8.5. That does make a difference. Makes a 6 inches of beam makes a huge difference in the roominess of the boat on the water. You don't feel it as much in the showroom, but when you get on the water, that extra 6 inches of beam, it makes things feel smaller, right? You got the water closer on both sides, you can see it. And it's a mid-tier boat in my mind. So it would be in the line of the Harris Cruise, of the Sweetwater is in there, and I talk about all of that in the. Um, I kind of make some of those comparisons in this video, the Bennington pontoon boat reviews, but also in the um, best and worst pontoons, and I actually compare more brands in that one. You can see right here, I walk through all of the manufacturers that I actually inspected. Since Bennington has been bought by Polaris, I've been hearing some things, but I haven't noticed anything in my inspection that says, hey, the big corporation is starting to cut corners on things. I haven't noticed that yet, but it's always something I watch. Just like when Winnebago bought Barletta, I'm always like, okay, at some point it will happen. The bean counters will start to say, well, why can't we cut some costs here and adjust the way we do this? But they're not boat people, and so they don't understand. And sometimes the cost cutting can come at the expense of a quality boat brand. It's happened numerous times to numerous boats. Princecraft probably the most blatant one. Some of the Genmar brands that in the 90s, I think they ended up going bankrupt, like Four Winds and Glastron. Um, those are all where a new owner came in, made some changes, and that caused problems with the quality and really took a toll on its brand. It happened to Sea Ray at a point in Sea Ray's life where the corporate non-boating people came in. They had MBAs, but they didn't know enough about boats to make smart decisions on where to cut costs and where not to, and design, and they caused some dip in the brand quality in my mind. Ray says, "What's your opinion of Lund?" I haven't done an aluminum fishing boat review, but Lund would be at the top level. They're a Brunswick company, so obviously you got the Mercury. They are the top end of the Brunswick aluminum. You got Lund, Low, Princecraft, and what's they've got one more. Um, Aluminum boats, Brunswick brands. Um, Boats. Crestliner is the other one. And Lund, Low, Princecraft, Crestliner are all Thunderjet. That doesn't really count. Um, are all their aluminum brands, and I would put Low at the top of those. Um, the the Crestliner is a little bit down, but when you look at the models, you've got to compare the right boat to boat, because there's so many different. You've got the windshield boats with the walkthrough. You have got the lower freeboard as you start dropping the freeboard. You've got no windshield. You've got, oh, let's see here. Some of them you're gonna, and as you get into Low in Lund, I think you've got the tiller handle. So you've got to make sure that you're comparing um, the right model of boat to the model of boat. But Lund is a very high quality brand. Yeah, you can see how many you start to get. Some of these are tiller handle, no windshields. You start to get to flat bottom, modified hulls. You've got boats from 22,000 to, what was that, 58, 58,000. So you've got a huge range of boats, well, really 12,000, 1,200 to 100,000, as you start to get to the bigger models. So just zeroing in on what you're doing with it and how you're using it and the water you're using it on. If you're going to be running it truly as a musky boat or a walleye boat, you want some good freeboard on that thing. And you want to have a windshield because you're going to be running in the cooler weather, in the cold water, where you want to stay inside the boat. If you're doing more bass fishing summer, springtime, you want easy access to the fish, then that is a fine option. And there's everything in between as well. So, but definitely on the premium end. Pursuit is a premium brand for sure. Um, they're owned by what, S2? Are they still own them, or they sell them off? Um, uh, Malibu, that's right. Um, they sold them off. Malibu owns them, and they've owned them for a couple of years now. But these are, I mean, as a saltwater boat, what Pursuit does really well is they've got they their lamination schedule is thicker than many, but they're also doing the little things that make a difference in the saltwater environment, like their connectors are all, I don't know what the terminology for them, but they're all sealed, so they're gonna limit the corrosion getting in and having wiring issues after 10, 20, 30 years of having that boat. It's those types of things. You can see stainless steel through hull versus um, all of that stuff makes a difference in the durability, the longevity, and in 10, 20, 30 years, having a boat that still holds good value, still looks good, still is holding up well. And if you were to take a core out, like if you were to mount another rod holder in here, you're going to have a chunk of fiberglass that's coming out that thick. You were to do that in a lower level boat, and it might be half an inch to an inch thinner. And that's just indicative of the overall quality. The fit and finish in the cabins of these boats is fantastic. They do a great job. They do a really good job. I have not been, let's see, have I been to a Pursuit factory? I have not been to the Pursuit factory, but I have been on a bunch of Pursuits because a client of mine sold Pursuits, and I spent a decent amount of time at their dealership, and they did. I went through all of their models that they had: the OS, the uh, dual console for sure, and the S, just the regular center console sport boats. So, and they're beautiful. And their price tag represents that they are premium, and they charge accordingly as everybody does. Do you have any knowledge about the power pole battery charger? They run about 1,500. Had a buddy say if he ever does a new boat, he's putting on his, especially if you're running a trolling motor. I don't, and I wish Brock was here because I know he would have some thoughts. If anybody else has experience with keeping your auxiliary batteries in good shape, running the trolling motor, the power poles, the electronics, and running off that accessory battery. I don't know. And I want to say, Sean, that this question has come up in the past, and Brock had an answer for it. But I don't, unfortunately. If anybody else has something in the comments that they can throw in from based on their experience, would be great. You just one of the couple of things I'll share that I do know is you want to make sure it's a smart charger that is going to trickle and then turn off when the battery gets to the right level. So it's got that smartness to turn on and off so that you are not cooking that battery. That is key. And then, just and make sure you get, if you've got lithium or if you've got the old school batteries, which are fine, but make sure that your charger is the appropriate type for the different types of batteries. I believe there can be a problem if you don't do that. The lithium batteries are just different enough that I think they take a different charger. Let's see. IT Consulting, welcome. Been a while since you've been in the comments, but want to let you know that I was the one who purchased the brand new Barletta. Many issues. Took it to Barletta, dropped it off 2020, got it back. Now we'll say Barletta went way over, completely rebuilt the boat, added features. IT Consulting, I'm very glad to hear that. I do remember you. So for people that don't know the story, IT Consulting, what did you say? October of 22 had just a crap experience with Barletta. If you go back and you look at my Barletta review comments, you'll see his comments there. I don't delete any comments. Let's see, Barletta pontoon boat review. See if that pops me up. Yeah. So somewhere on this video, you'll find his comments, and it's one of the I say in this video, one of the things that I really appreciate about Barletta is not only they have dealers that are usually pretty good. IT Consultants dealer was not, from the information that I got. I got his side of the story, and based on what Barletta did tells me his side of the story was 100% accurate. But I've never talked to that dealer. I don't even know who they were. But Barletta has the reputation and the history of stepping up. Even if the dealer doesn't do what they're supposed to, Barletta has stepped up and said, we're going to make it right. Now, I will say, I gave him the president and the vice president's contact information that I had because I've met them at boat shows and have had conversations with Bill Fennick. I think I say his name wrong a lot of times, but Bill and Jeff, who's now the new president, as Bill retired after they sold to Winnebago. He stuck around for a year or two and then retired. But it sounds like they stepped up and they did what I would expect them to do. And I was really disappointed when IT Consulting said, I talked to Barletta and they are not helping me out. And I got a lemon of a boat. And he was not happy. And rightfully so. But I'm very glad to hear that they did step up and they took care of the issue, which, like I said, is what I would expect from them, and glad that that happened. And this people think I get paid for these reviews, and I don't. I haven't made a single penny directly from any manufacturer. I just think Barletta is a great brand, and I just that's my belief and my experience. And I was disappointed to hear from him, but glad to hear back from him that they did him right. Research the Regency brand too, and the Barletta models are built so much stronger. Never been a quieter boat. Yeah, that is. I mean, I have been on a ton of pontoons. I've been on most every brand that is in that review, which is uh 15, 20 of them. There are some brands, Silver Wave, I just got a review down at the Lake Lanier boat show. Have not been on the Massimo, have not been on um there's a handful of others that I haven't been on. But I got on that Barletta and I was like, this is the quietest, most solid, most smooth riding boat I've ever been on. And I sold Harris. I've sold Benningtons. I've sold Crests on the pre-owned side. I didn't sell them new. Sweetwaters. I mean, I just go on and on and on. Premier, been on them, and it was so much better. And so anyway, thank you for sharing that IT Consulting, and happy that you got it the way it should be. Zachary, you're very welcome. Let's see, we're coming up on an hour here. Yeah, Derek, I know Derek has researched a ton of brands over the last probably year and a half, 2 years, and Regal is good. Like I said, tell me. Okay, all right, I'm just coming up to it now. Sorry, I thought you meant Regency instead of Regal. Um, yeah, I agreed. Regency is the Bass Pro brand, and yeah, night and day with the premium level. It's a mid-tier at best, the Regency. And part of that is because of the Bass Pro relationship. The Traditionally, people that I hear that buy directly from Bass Pro haven't had great experiences. There's exceptions. There's exceptions to Barletta has great dealers and Bass Pro has poor dealers. There are crappy Barletta dealers. There are outstanding Bass Pro Shop stores, salespeople, service departments. But when you look at it as a whole, that's been my experience from talking to, you know, I have communication with a lot of boaters between the comments, between my emails, between these lives, between talking to people at boat shows, between dealers I know, between boaters I just meet out on the water, and and that's where that's where I pull my opinions from when I make an opinion. So, all right, getting a 175 MSRP Chaparral, 137 out the door. Orlando Boat Show, sign of desperation from dealer that the market is cooling off. No, Orlando, it's not a sign of desperation. It's a sign of normalcy. That is what I would expect. Okay, so there is. Let me see if it's still out there. All right. So boat show. All right, so there's this Facebook group called Boat Show Prices. Okay, it hasn't been super active in the last couple of years, but all right, let's scroll back to 2019. If you'll bear with me in my scroll here. I'm not sure how long it's going to take to get back to 2019. Let's see what this is. That's a 2020 boat. All right, so we're getting close. I don't know when they started, but I think they've been going for a while. Um, but people just take price sticker shots at the boat show. And the reason I say Orlando Auto Mall is that it is that's how pricing used to work. Still 2020. I didn't see what that. Okay. Trying to find a show that I know was in January of 2020 and will be close to the 2019. But I'll just go off on this a little bit more. That was on the higher end boats. And Chaparral, if you're looking at it, you're probably an SSX model of some size, but those are going to have their MSRP is significantly higher than the sales price. Now, during the pandemic, the MSRP was still let's say last year, the MSRP was probably 168. And you probably bought the boat for 145, right? There was still a discount. It just wasn't as much. Now the MSRP went up a little bit. The discount's going down some, but it's not that unusual to have that big of a discount on the more premium brands because they inflate the MSRP a little bit. Inflate. They can set the MSRP whatever they want. Manufacturer suggested retail price. It doesn't have to be based on anything specific, but they put it higher so that dealers can then adjust the numbers when they get a trade and show higher trade values than what the trade is actually worth to the dealer and make the buyer feel good about it. That's one of the main reasons that they do it. So a $50,000 discount, or not even, what is that? 174, 30 some $1,000 discount, $35,000 discount, we'll say. That's not totally out of line. Let's see if this is. So this is a $10,000 discount on a less than $100,000 boat, a Sea Hunt, which is a higher mid-tier brand, maybe even up in the I don't know if I think I may have put them in the premium level. They're right on the high end of that, but I don't know what year this is. Okay, so this is 2018. So you can see that at the boat show that there's one. Here we go. MSRP 119, boat show price 88. So what is that? 20 some $1,000. So it's not way out of line. It's not way out of line from what's normal. Compared to the last 3 years, it looks huge. But the market is definitely cooling off, but I don't think it's desperation. I think it's going back to a normal level. It was way up here. Now it's coming back and it's at this level, but that's like at a baseline normal level. Now, could it go down here? Absolutely. Are dealers worried about it? According to So this is Soundings Trade Only magazine. It is an industry publication. This is the March 23. So this is a I showed this graph in my market review, and the most recent data is January 2023. And you'll see the question is new boat inventory, too high, too low, or it's just right. 25, maybe 20-25% says inventory's too high. About 22% says inventory is too low, and it's up significantly. If you see that trend, hero everybody 100% said it's too low, and that was in July 2022, April to July of 2022. October, it starts going up. January goes up, but you can see it from October to January, the trend line ticks down a little bit. Everybody was real nervous. The boat show season hit, and people were making sales. Boats were still moving. It wasn't as big of a drop off as people were expecting. It's just gone back to a more normal level. And if you want to go through and look through these prices, here's 151 discounted down to 117. All right. So what is that? A 30, not quite 40,000, 30, 30 some $1,000 discount on this boat. And this was posted in 2018. So that's kind of a normal level, maybe a little bit more than normal, but a normal level on a more premium brand. And you can go look at all the different brands that they have here. This is one that Chat Lee, Sea Hunt at Chat Lee, 8,000. They do their pricing a little different. They give away, instead of discounting as much, they give away free packages that they put together, which is a smart marketing thing. $12,000 discount on a $50,000 Key West, mid-tier center console. I don't know if I will be able to scroll right to a Chaparral or not. But go check that out. And I think it's normal. I think if we see manufacturers giving bigger rebates than they have been, if you look at Chaparral boats, this is one of the things I talked about in the market review, is when you start seeing manufacturers advertising rebates on their website, you can tell that they're worried about their dealer network inventory is getting too high. But you can see they don't have a manufacturer rebate listed. Doesn't mean that they're not going to give a rebate at the boat show, but they're controlling it more. When things get real tight and the desperation starts to show, what you'll see is that they'll advertise rebates on the website to the mass. That's different than advertising a rebate at a boat show in a particular market. And that's kind of what they do is, hey, the Northwest is we got too many boats up in the Northwest. We got too many boats in the South. We got too many boats here. We got too many of this model out there, this size. Then they'll start strategically placing rebates at the boat shows at the dealer level. Things get more desperate. Then they start placing rebates nationally. And you'll start to see that if you start seeing rebates in July, at around after the 4th of July, then all right. And depending on if it's $500, $1,000, $5,000 on a $200,000 boat, that's minimal, because what they do, Orlando Auto Mall, is they actually tie the rebate then. And I don't know if there was rebate in that boat show pricing for the Orlando show. There may have been. But what happens is they say that $5,000 that's coming from the manufacturer, that gets discounted off of a 2024 model that they order of that same model, right? So if you get it on an OSX or you get it on a Surf, then that $5,000 has to come from another 28 Surf that you order. It's how they make sure they get the boats made for next year, is they tie it to that. Just an interesting thing that a lot of people don't realize, how it's done. All right. So, okay. So I thought, Savvy, I thought you were a cruiser guy. So when you're looking at Regal, the Regal cruisers, you're probably comparing to, there's really not, there's really not a ton of brands out there making these style of boats, in that size. Um, Cruisers yachts would be one. Um, I would say Tiara could be one depending on exactly what model you're looking at. Um, oh, that's not the one I wanted. That's not really it. Nope. They're all making these crossovers, the bow riders with the cabin. So something left the 43 Tiara is gonna compare to some of their our boats. Um, to some of their coupes. They've got their expresses, which there's really um cruisers. Are they still making the express? Yeah. I boarded a what was it, a 38, it must have been. Um, I boarded a 38, I think it was stern drive, this hybrid down in Lake Lanier, a beautiful boat. They looked very, very nice. But it's got the if you that picture, there probably is a better one. But you can see it's open right here, but there's a cabin down below, and those are becoming much more popular, and not a lot of people are building that express style, like this 39 Express. The Express meaning that you've got your cabin down below, but a more flat style there, and it's got the aft cabin here, the sleeping quarters is the express style. Sea Ray kind of made it popular. Depending on what size you're looking at, um, the Sun Dancer could be could be in that group, but they have really cut down their cruiser lineup. You saw that 320 and 370 are their that kind of express style cruiser, and that is all they're building now. Um, wow, that I picked the wrong one. That's and again, they've got that bow rider with the cabin, that crossover kind of style. Um, come on, 370. Well, you know what? Have they changed all of their Sundancers? They've gotten rid of them completely. Yeah. So there, that's but you can see the cabins smaller, and you don't have the same headroom because you've got the bow up here that has seating area. Now that's raised up a little bit than a traditional bow rider. So I would say Cruiser's Yacht, Tiara, and Regal, again, depending on exactly what model that you're looking at. Different 38s, 42. My deal is 40. Yeah, they're on the new side. 40-foot cruiser. Let me see if there's anybody that I'm missing. Yeah, I mean, you can go to the what do they call that? The northeastern style. Not I don't not quite a trawler, uh, but uh, but there are some like this style savvy that would be give you that lifestyle, but like a back cove would be in that range. Let's see. Yeah, Express Cruiser Ellis. But again, you're looking at a different style of boat. Um, when you're looking at those, the Aviara are going to be, that's going to be that crossover. I don't think they have any that are, they had one of these at the show as well. Yeah, it's got the, I don't know why they don't like to show pictures of the whole boat. Um, that's not what I want. But they're kind of those crossovers, and that's where the style is going. But that let's see. Let's go to, this is where I go to get my boat brands, Discover Boating. It's the arm of the National Marine Manufacturer Association that okay, Beneteau, Back Cove, Formula. I think Formula still has some cruisers um, that are straight cruisers. Let's see here if I'm correct on that. Crossover, center console, Sunsport. Yeah, their Sunsport, they get 35 is the biggest on that one. But that's going to give you the true, the Sunsport. You can see a little bit lower profile than that Express Cruiser. If you're to look at the Regal, you see how much taller that is than the Sunsport. That's kind of what that moniker means. It's a more faster, sportier boat. You lose a little bit of the headroom in the cabin is what you lose with that. Tiara, Beneteau is, I saw one of these. No, I saw one of these in Atlanta. Do you have a good maintenance resource for understanding basic hull maintenance on a boat that is in the water year round? Of air and sea, probably this is a good channel for learning that type of stuff. And it is, again, boating. And Savvy, I'm gonna come back to you. I just saw this pop in. But Born Again Boating, Aaron at Born Again Boating has some awesome videos. Um, bottom paint. So he's got bottom paint do's and don'ts, wraps, uh, gel coat. He's got his technicians Tuesdays are a pretty good coverage of actual. He's a tech down at a dealership in Key West, or no, in the Keys somewhere. I think Marathon maybe. But he will go through different project boats. He's got project boats he's done himself. That would probably be some of his bottom paint ones would be good to look at. Also, let's see. That's it. Boating life today. No. Yeah, ZKR, you're exactly right. It does depend on the hull and the water. Oh, what is that guy's name? I'm subscribed to him. Um, does anybody remember the name of the, and he's Andy, he's up in on the Great Lakes. He does awesome videos on gel coat, fiberglass work, fiberglass work on boats. See if this comes up. Boat Works Today. I knew it was something today. But Boat Works Today, he's a gel coat guy, fiberglass guy, and does a great job. He's got a ton of videos as well. 200,000 subscribers. I don't know him personally, but I do know that care. Um, repairing. I'm not seeing. Let me. Hey, of Aaron C. Do this. Send me an email to Captain Secret Weapon.com. Send me an email there. Captain, I don't know if I spelled that right or not, but captain at boatersecretweapon.com. Send me an email there. And I know I can find something better than I'm just trying to come this off the top of my head, and I'll shoot it over to you. I appreciate your support and be happy to look in. That's good information for me to have a good resource. And if I can't find one, to put those thoughts together. So if you want in the email, just like list some of the questions that you have, and I can try to find those answers for you, and get maybe create a whole video out of it, and pull all those resources together, or direct you to if there's one already out there that's really good. All right, all right, we're coming up on an hour and a half. I'm gonna put the end to things here in a little bit. I'll answer the last couple questions. If you got something urgent, put it in there, and I will do that. Let's see if anybody's had any thoughts on the battery charger on the power poles. Corey, thanks for stopping in. All right, so let's go back to Savvy's question, because I want to see what I was missing. The Benetos. Um, this isn't really. I don't know if you want outboards. This is more of that. Beneteau being a French company, that they've kind of got that French styling, and even it's cool, that coupe with the hard top on their motor yacht. Um, 18 to 32. I don't know if that's quite what the Gran Turismo. Here's what you're looking for. Um, so that's a good looking. It's going to have plenty of cabin space. They go up to, what was it, 40? I want to say they said 44. Excuse me, 44 maybe. But again, it's the styling is a little bit more European. I like the bow is designed. I like that cushion up there on the bow. Is something that for a lot of people is very usable. Um, a walk around on the side. Looks like there's a pretty good walkway there for sometimes those can get narrow. 32 and 36 were the lengths on those. So that would be another one. And then let's see. Regal, Yamaha, no. Chaparral is not making them. Sabre Yachts, that's going to be another that kind of northeastern style. But again, the lifestyle is there. Those are super high end and beautiful, beautiful boats. Cruiser, Sea Ray, Chaparral's. I'm almost certain Chaparral's not making one anymore yet. SI, SSX, OBX, Surf. Yeah, that's they're the sales of the Cruiser have gone down considerably since the 90s, early 2000s. Pontoons have taken over, and now that they've come up with that crossover with the cabin and the bow, kind of like I showed you with the cruisers and the Aviara. Aviara is how you say that. I always say that one wrong too. But those are going to be the ones that are really making it. And yeah, that's pretty slim pickings. And you've got the trawlers if you're not really concerned about. Um, you've got the trawlers if you're not. Come on, why are you not going to trawlers? I don't want walkarounds. I don't think the walkarounds are going to give you what you're looking for. They're going to be more saltwater, more fish focused, and less living space. All right, let's see here. Sean, you're very welcome. Glad to answer that. The inventory will come back. Yeah, the inventory levels is, it's going to be, and I said this in my market review video. It's going to be region by region and boat style by boat style. I think why you're seeing in this that 25% of the people say it's too high, 25% of the people say it's too low. And everybody 50% are saying we're about right. Like that was the consensus in January. So just a couple months ago from that survey is that you're going to see pockets where they're discounting more. Manufacturers are putting rebates into dealers instead of doing mass rebates across North America. You're going to see aluminum fishing boats maybe start to have bigger discounts and rebates before you see pontoons with high horsepower. You might even see this. You might even see pontoons with 90s and less having rebates, tri-tunes with 150 and higher not having rebates. That's another segment of the market. You might see value bow riders get more rebates, the Tahoes, the Stingrays, the Hurricane, the mid-tier and lower, them guys getting rebates where you've got Cobalt, Chaparral, Regal, Four Winds, Sea Ray, and some of the higher level not. So I think that's what's going to happen. Wasn't Bennington owned by Brunswick? Bennington was owned by Bennington. So there was a family. I just their name escaped me. But they were owned by a family privately until 2017, and then Polaris bought them. Polaris bought pontoons in 2017. Let's see if I'm right. Polaris, May of 2018, buys the America's largest pontoon manufacturer for 805 million. And the family was yeah, they own so yeah, they owned also Bennington had at that point had bought in Godfrey, Hurricane, and Rinker. Rinker has since been shut down. Godfrey and Hurricane are still going strong. So they had bought that from Wreck Boat Holdings. What is the name? What is the family name? As soon as I see it, I'll slap my head. Vogel's, there it is. Yeah, the Vogel family owned a majority share of it, but they sold out. 2018 is when that happened, I guess, not 2017. That was one of the bigger ones, and you started seeing more and more. Mastercraft started buying up, Malibu started buying up companies. Winnebago bought Barletta, and I don't know if they'll continue to buy or not, continue to buy boat brands or not, but that the aluminum manufacturing of the travel trailers and the RVs is a good fit. I'll have to test drive the Barletta this summer, see how it compares to see what you say about it. Yeah, I think sustainability. I think when you run the Barletta pontoons, make sure it's their top two models would be the comparable, because they build those a little different. The Lusso and the Corsa, the Cabrio and the Aria are, you can see the $5 signs, $4 signs, $3 signs, $2 signs. The Aria and the Cabrio, they use a different construction. So they use double I-beam on the Corsa and the Lusso, and they use single I-beam on the Cabrio and the Aria. I've only run uh Corsa is what I ran. The Cabrio and the Aria, and this was when the very first year they came out and were on the market. I ran one on Lake Norman, and the Cabrio, I bet it was one of their first 100 boats. And Cabrio and Aria hadn't come out with those yet. But my guess is those two would ride more similar to your Q. Um, the Corsa and the Lusso, you might be able to feel the difference. Here's one reasons why you may not notice it is because your QX has the fiberglass, which gives it a little bit more sturdy feel to it, whereas they don't have that look yet. I don't know if they'll come out with it or not, but they're just the aluminum fencing. Let's see if the reserve. There you go. The reserve is I knew they would come out with one um, with the fiberglass. It makes the boat heavier, which means you need a bigger horsepower to get the same speed, but it adds more heft to the boat, which is going to make it feel more solid to you. But you might notice a slight improvement from the QX to that. But they do an outstanding job. I'd be curious to hear what you say about it when you get that opportunity. Um, yeah, the hull in the water. We'll look into that for you of Air and Sea and try to get you a good answer. All right, Power Pole makes a charge inverter. Supposed to be amazing. Power Pole brand makes chargers, inverters, works on all types of boat. Several are in boat at once. 1,500. Oh, I didn't show all those, but this is Sean asking us questions. Here we go. Right. But Brock, thanks for jumping on. Raining here at Disney, headed back to the hotel. Well, hopefully you and your wife had a great time. I don't know if the kids are with you or not. Um, sustainability, yeah, that would be a nice. You get the Barletta and the Bennington. You'd have double. But Brock, welcome. Hey, Brock, if you've got any experience with chargers, I want to say you talked about it at one point on one of the lives, but Sean Harper's asking about the Power Pole brand charger inverter for charging up the accessory batteries for a Power Pole, running trolling motor, running the electronics, and he's saying that one's 1,500 for the Power Pole, and just kind of curious on that technology. And as you know, I don't have much knowledge or experience with that. And if you've got anything to share, if it's hard to type while I don't know if you're driving or the wife's driving or the parents are driving, or grandparents. There you go. Kids are at the grandparents, enjoying just some adult time. That's good. But if you can put anything in or any resources would be awesome. All right. So Sean, here he says, I've got a Power Pole charge in my Ranger. Absolutely worth it for me. If you're just a weekend warrior, probably not worth it. So Sean, I don't know if you've listened to a lot of the lives, but Brock fishes a lot of tournaments, and he does extremely well in them. Last year he finished first in his club tournament, but he goes out for the day and he is going hard and fishing. He's fishing to win, and so I think that's what he's saying. The investment amount. Hey, if you're really going to use it, it's worth it. If you're just going out every now and again for a couple hours, then maybe it's more than a necessary. I think is what I'm reading into his comments. The ability to use the app to divert the charge, jumpstart a dead cranking battery is nice. Um, so hopefully that's helpful for you. And and like I said, Brock is the person you would want to get this information from. He's actually using it, and he's using it in um, competitive situation, and he's using it consistently, and he's very up to date on electronics and that type of thing. So he is running three 12-volt Monster Marine lithiums for the TM and a Group 31 for his starting battery. So his cranking battery is a 31 AGM. So yes, thank you, Brock. I appreciate that. Thanks for jumping on. Glad we were still going here. All right, last question from Momo. Momo says, "What can you tell me about the Bayliner Trophy 20 center console?" All right, so I have got best and worst console. All right, so you can watch Momo. You can watch this video, best and worst center consoles. I went to the Charleston Boat Show and reviewed every center console that was inside. This year, I went back and looked at every set. Well, I should say not this year. Last year, I went and looked at every one on the outside and just kind of did a quick run around the inside to make sure that nobody had made any major changes. And that actually, if you can see that picture, is the trophy that was sitting outside. I think it was the 20 CC. They are a value brand. So you're getting a lot of boat for the money. The quality level is going to be on the lower end. So you're going to have things like plastic through hull fittings instead of stainless steel. This horn is going to get washed out with water in the first couple trips because the placement's kind of odd. Now it's a safe boat. It has a Mercury outboard on it, which is what the most expensive boat in the category is going to have, a Mercury or Yamaha or Suzuki. And it's got the Mercury on it. It's got the Mercury controls. It's got the vessel view ability to upgrade those things. They're going to be laid out pretty basic. The gel coat is going to be a lower quality gel coat. The stainless steel is going to be 306 instead of 3/16, which means you're going to have to polish it more and it's going to rust easier. Matter of fact, at one of the shows, the trophy I looked at, the on a boat show boat, the cleat was already rusted, and they didn't polish it up and clean it up like they should have. But you're going to get more of that type of stuff. You're just going to have to take really good care of it. The upholstery is going to be a thinner gauge than the mid tier and the premium boats, but you're going to save a ton of money. And if you take good care of it, if you cover it, that boat is going to last a long time. There is going to be little ticky tacky things that come up now and again. It's just, that's how you're able to buy a boat for 40,000, that the next level up is 55,000, the next level up is 90,000, and you get a boat for half the price, but you get what you pay for as well. And there's going to be some little things that come up that are annoying. There's going to be some things that would be nicer on the other level, but you're still going to be safe. You can still catch fish. You can get the full warranty. Make sure you buy from a good quality dealer that's going to take care of you. And you can also watch this video, um, a Bayliner review, because I kind of give my take on the value brand, and I do it through the lens of factory people, just different lines, and they are They're owned by Brunswick, and the trophy and bayliner. Matter of fact, you'll call it they'll call the boat a bayliner by trophy is what they called it at some point. So I if you're going to be happy with the value level, and what I ask people is, what kind of car do you drive? If you are somebody that's going to drive a Yukon Denali, you're getting that level. Well, then you're not going to be happy with the trophy. If you're somebody that buys the Ford F-150 base model, you'll be okay. I'm for myself, I buy a used truck. I'm fine. I don't care. I'm not a person that wants the best and the newest. One, it doesn't fit my budget right now. And so I go and I buy pre-owned. And so I drive a F-150 Lariat that I bought used, and it's got 100,000+ miles on it. But that's where I make my money go further. If you like the idea of the warranty, and the 17 or the 20 or 22 fit what you're looking to do, they fit your budget, there's a good dealer, and you're going to be okay with not having the best of the best, and that there's going to be some little issues here and there. They're going to be minor. Then I think you're going to be totally happy with it. You're going to be safe. Just take good care of it, and you'll have a good experience with a good dealer. So those are some of my thoughts on that. Let's see here. Yeah, very, very welcome, Savvy Symbol, and I appreciate you being a long time live joiner. I always love to see the same names pop up and down in the comments, and good. I'm glad that was a good one for you, because they're fewer and fewer in the marketplace. No problem. Glad to help. Okay, bus back to the resort, sitting back doing nothing for the next 15 minutes. Well, enjoy your time down there. Enjoy the quietness and some relaxation with your wife. It's hot down in Florida. Moved to Jackson, to North Carolina. Love it up here. Yeah. Hey, Sean, I am just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm actually in South Carolina, but just outside of Charlotte. It's maybe 30 minutes to uptown Charlotte. So I've been here, since 97. I love it. Warm Friday, Saturday. Today it was only low 60s, pretty windy most of the day, 59 now, raining wind blowing about 15 miles an hour. Well, hopefully you made it to Pleasure Island there and got out of some of that weather. All right, guys. Well, we are rolling up on hour and 50 minutes. Saw them. Thank you. Yes. So if you're about affordability, saving some money for docking costs, I think you're going to be in a good shape. That's exactly what that boat is made for. And it does it extremely well. And that's why I never like to say a boat's good or bad. It's good or bad for an individual person, but if it fits what you're looking for, that's the exact option that you want to consider. Be looking for the new pics video once I get the boat in my possession. Well, I'm glad it's in the right state. It's in the neighborhood. Hopefully all the inspections go smoothly and they get it out of the water for their shakedown, and you're out enjoying the warm weather and your new boat. Congratulations. Soon to be congratulations. We'll see you guys all next week, and tired of the heat. Yes. That we are just right. I don't know where in the Carolinas you are, but we get maybe a snow here in Charlotte every other year. We'll get a snow. We'll get some cold weather where you got to put a hat on maybe. But it doesn't get so sweltering hot all the time, and it's a great mix. I'm from Nebraska, so I appreciated the warmth. Sustainability. Thanks. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you all on the next live next Sunday. And I'm going to be heading down to Charleston to do some filming down there for the Coastal Boater Bootcamp and a few other tidbits I need to get done. So maybe we'll have a story for you next time. Take care. We'll catch y'all later. Headed to Leland, North Carolina, retiring very soon. Leland, where is Leland, North Carolina? Silver Lake. Okay, by Wilmington. Yeah, they're the that Marine Max dealer there is a good dealer. Each Marine Max kind of has its own personality, and but that one in Wilmington, I know a couple of the guys there. They'll take good care of you. Bryson City, yep. Um, Awesome. Thanks, Derek. Thanks, Sean. Momo, thanks for joining us. Hopefully, we'll see you on future ones. And sustainability, Brock, everybody. Thanks for joining. We'll catch you guys all next week.